We have this window right now where we can have a resurgence of a love of the principles of liberty that are articulated in the Declaration and the Constitution leading up to the 250th birthday of the nation, which is July 4th, 2026. That's not that far out, but it's a window that we have to get people to understand what created the greatest nation in the history of the world.
Well, history has shown that empires last about 250 years and they all fail. When we come back, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, I want to talk about Alexander Fraser Tytler and the cycle that the founders knew about and how we can avoid being sent to the dustbin of history. Do we protect liberty going forward? We'll cover that right after this break. We're talking with Rick Green, the Constitution Coach of America, and how do we educate the American populace to understand liberty, security, and values the way our founders did, not the way they're being taught in public schools, not the way they're being taught in woke law schools. I mean, Vice President Harris had her rally at Howard University, and she didn't show back up for that to give her concession speech, so they called her the Coward of Howard. That's kind of trending now. But Howard hasn't been teaching in law school the principles of the Constitution, but neither is Harvard, neither is, you've got to go to very far to find a good teaching of the Constitution at a law school. Rick, you went to the University of Texas. Did they teach you what the founders taught, or did they teach you something different?
They hit it, right? The last thing they wanted to do was actually open up the Constitution, so they had to tell you what some professor or some judge, says about the Constitution instead of actually reading it and studying it. So yeah, that's part of our problem, right? I mean, we're more worried about the fad and what's popular at the time instead of what's actually true, what actually lasts, what actually will be good for our kids and grandkids. But I think you mentioned it in the first segment. The pain of the bad policies is causing people to ask questions. They're starting to look up and go, well, you know what? I don't want to go into 1,000 years of darkness. I don't want to go into multiple generations of tough times. So what can we do to interrupt that cycle of nations?